I always remember having this one dream before my mom passed away. And it was just was an amazing dream. It was like in Revelations where it's peaceful. And it I had a picture. I saw this dream and it was just such a beautiful river, and it was just so peaceful. Everything was clean. And I think this place kind of reminds me of just the quietness and the peace. Yeah.
I saw my granddad once that I could remember. That's all. My granddad squatted on this quarter across the road from us in 1892. At that time, you could either squat on land, live there, or apply for homestead rights, which I think were only about $10 or something per quarter section at that time. He didn't really farm to speak of. He got some cattle from somebody. I can't remember who it was, on shares. Mm-hmm. And he cared for the cattle, and he would get part of the calf crop. I don't know if it was half or a third or whatever it was, but that's how he got started. And I guess in those days, he was considered to be a handyman carpenter type of thing. Then my dad built the house that's over there now. He didn't build it. He had a fellow by the name of George Beelhartz who lived in Shelbrook, and he was the one that was the main carpenter on the house. But my granddad built another house north of Shelbrook, and it still stands there, But
so how did you two meet? What's the story there?
The story is my sister and I went to a New Year's Eve dance, and Grandpa was at it too. And so he took us home, and he tried to kiss me, and I didn't want him to.
Well, that was a New Year's Eve dance.
Yeah.
But I saw them one time. We went down to the swimming hole north of Shelbrook, and she pulled off the road. She was driving. She pulled off the road too far. They had built it up, and the shoulder was soft, and she was stuck. But we got out of the car, and we were able to push and get her back out of there and onto the road. But I didn't know who she was then. But I heard later, and I think it was Bill Richards said that, that was the Sonnenberg girls. He doesn't remember Richard introducing us, but I can remember.
No, I can't.
I asked him who that brunette was over there or something or other. So I was kind of attracted to her, and I just said, he said, that's the Sonnenberg girl, not.
He must have asked me if I'd go out or something.
I think so, yeah. I think he went out to after either a movie or a hockey game. I think probably a hockey game.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't recall that part of it. I know that he came and used to get me, and I always said, when he used to come, he was always dressed so nice and neat.
We only mostly went out on Saturday nights, eh? Sometimes we'd get together on Sunday, but she was playing organ in church, so this, But I wasn't a church attendee. So you see each other once a week or the weekend or whatever it is or something, and this went on for quite some time.
I was
Park teaching at Park Youth.
Yes.
Then you went to
Hildrock.
Hildrock, yeah.
For 2 years.
And she followed me to Humboldt.
Yes. Where I taught for a year.
So when did the two of you get married?
March 8th, 1958. Then your mom was born, and so I didn't teach anymore, and your mom was 6 years old, and Earl was working with Fast Power, and he wanted to get onto a district operator position. Mm-hmm. So he applied for Cadillac, which is down south near Swift Current. And we moved there in 59.
59.
Yeah,
when I was a year old.
Yeah, 6 months old.
Well, I was working on district work, but it was a lone, like, one-man district, you know, and you got to the point where you were kind of getting complacent about the job or taking little, you know, maybe little small risks, and you don't fool around with high voltage electricity. I pottered around here and there with Bert Jordan and his dad farming, and then I thought, oh, maybe it wouldn't be that bad, you know. And then this place here, that the person that had lived here before, he passed away in 1956.
And then,
Well,
when did that change hands? How did it change hands?
We come here in moved back here to Shellbrook in 64 from Cadillac.
Started school. We had that old house we lived in here. Kristen was born.
And my dad farmed it like this land, you know, but he was pension age then, so I thought, well, maybe we could come back here, but my dad wasn't ready to quit. So then I ended up working as out. Got a job as with an electrician here, like in Shellbrook, eh?
And that's why that we lived in that house that's was once his shop. When we first came, we just had a half-ton truck. We didn't have an auger. So Grandpa, he would use these, whatever you call these, scoop shovels, and he'd shovel the grain into the bins. And we had old wooden bins. Like there's an opening in the top, and I'd crawl in there so I could move the grain so that it would level off. And so that was how we started. I taught from 72, and that's the year that Dad took out a bunch of logs from over.
On the old Sterling place.
Yeah, he took a bunch of logs. He cut tree, like, you know, saw logs with, and we had someone cut it into lumber.
Saw it up, yeah.
And that's what we used to build this house. It was quite a move when we moved into this place. You know, it was totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But I was teaching at the time, so you were born in Humboldt, and Lorene was born in Kincaid, and Kirsten was born in Prince Albert, and Aaron was also born in Prince Albert.
We never got to the point where, well, I didn't practice what they call now no-till farming. Like, I mean, the machinery we had, you couldn't seed into a large amount of stubble or straw or something like the equipment you have now can. Never got big farming. You know, we just started with a quarter and 86 acres. No, yeah, 86 acres besides a quarter, but it wasn't all tillable. I mean, you know, there was a big slough out there, lake. But yeah, we got another quarter, and then took over my dad's quarter, and then we rented some too. We rented Sterling's over here, and I rented Earl Grimm's and that. So one year, the biggest year we had 900 acres of crop one year, I think.
But I can remember one year we had canola right across the road here on Grandpa's pasture. There
were two types of granular. You know, you could work into the soil before you seeded canola. It was not a desiccant, it was a weed killer like sort of thing, eh? It pretty well killed all the other weeds. Particularly we're thinking of wild oats. That was our biggest problem with canola.
The land that we bought later, we got a school quarter, and the school was the one that your mom's grandpa attended, Pleasantville School. We still own that.
What was the idea behind the tree farm? When did it start? And why did you choose to do that?
We had this little triangular piece of land out here beside the, north side. And it was kind of a headache when you work farming the rest of the place. You're going round. So I thought, well, maybe we could put something in there that more permanent rather than putting just hay land or something, because we didn't want it for cattle anyway. We got that idea about growing these Scots pine were just coming in. They weren't a native tree or anything. They weren't common.
We sold Christmas trees, like we said, come see and saw was what it was called. And people would come and pick trees when they were, just the right size for Christmas trees. Families that had children, they just loved to come out to the trees because the children could go around and choose which tree they thought was good. But now the trees are so huge and we are not ready to look after them, and it's just like it'll be a forest for someone that gets it and they can use it later on.
Yeah.
An evenly spaced forest.
Yes.
Well,
Some of the highlights of having a farm and raising and having your kids grow up.
I remember
Grandmothers are for good for spoiling kids. No one can attest to that.
Yeah.
Aiden would always, he was the one that was kind of a little monkey. He'd sleep in that room and then he'd fall out of bed, or he'd acted like that. And he would not wear a pamper. And then I remember when you went to Vacation Bible School at Redberry, we picked you up one time and I had a bunch of peas and they like to watch TV, so I put a jean blanket down on the floor. I put the peas down there and they'd watch TV and shelled all the peas for us. You took on a lot of responsibility, because I remember living in that old house, and when I was teaching, it was, it wasn't handy. We had to wash dishes, and sometimes I remember we had to wash clothes in the kitchen and cook in the kitchen. And
then you were helping Dad in the field.
Yes.
Sometimes,
Right? Yeah. You often were
particularly in harvest time.
Yeah.
I just have a couple more questions. What does this place mean to you?
It's a place you want to come back to. Seems like. For me, anyway.
It just feels like, I don't know, it just seems that it's going to be hard to let go.
Yeah.
Because we built it and we're proud of it. And just like everything, you have to let go. And that's going to be the most difficult part.
Yeah.
We're just not dependent enough on home care yet quite to go away.
We're
And our offspring are saying, well, hang on as long as you can. So we're hanging on as long as we can.
Yeah.
The quietness.
Yeah.
The quietness. And I used to walk, and that was sort of you could refresh your brain. It's just like, you didn't have any vehicles and things such that it's nature.
Yeah.
Nature. I like the nature. And I mean, I grew up on a farm too, and
But your kids want you to hang on to the farm as long as possible too.
Yeah.
Because it's still home for us.
Yes.
Right?
And I think that's what maybe keeps us looking forward to that too. I said, I get so tired now, but I enjoy when they come home. And I'm glad when everybody pitches in, because it's just that I know it's home to them.
Is there one thing, or any one thing, that you would like people to know about this place?
Yeah. That we raised 4 good girls.
And
They're
it's
not perfect, but they're good.
and
I mean, when you raise 4 girls, in a matter of speaking, you can be proud of them. That's an accomplishment. If nothing else, that's an accomplishment.